Hello, welcome to Learn to Knit Online. I'm Alice, your knitting teacher, and today I'm going to show you how to use stitch markers. I have a blog post here on the website which is all about knitting notions, the essentials that you should have in your knitting bag, and stitch markers were included in them. Stitch markers come in a variety of styles. Here's just an example of a few. In fact, this is a safety pin that I sometimes use when I'm desperate if I can't find a stitch marker elsewhere. So I'm going to show you how and why you would use stitch markers. Stitch markers are there as little flags. They sort of wave to us to say, hey, something's going to change in your row. That's all they're there for, the sort of signposts. So here I've just cast on and knitted one row of just a couple of stitches, just as an example. And I'm going to ask you to pretend with me that this is a big blanket, and I'm going to do a border of a different stitch pattern around the edges of this blanket. So the first two stitches and the last two stitches of every row I'm going to knit, and the middle stitches I'm going to knit and purl. So I'm going to do stockingette stitch, knit one row, purl one row. So my first two stitches I want to knit, so I'm just going to knit those. Now, because I'm going to switch into stockingette pattern, I want to set myself a little reminder. So I'm going to use a stitch marker here that basically distinguishes these two stitches from these stitches. So now I'm going to move my yarn to the front, purl away until I get to the last two stitches. And now, because I'm going to change into knitting every row of these two stitches, I'm going to add on another stitch marker. And as you can see, I just literally place them on the knitting needle. They're not going to go anywhere. And they're just going to sit on my needle. I'm going to move my yarn to the back and knit my two stitches. And it means that these stitch markers, they just sit on my needle. I'm not knitting through them, there's no yarn involved, they're just sitting in between stitches on my needle, flagging things up for me. So again, I'm going to knit my first two stitches, and here's my stitch marker, which is basically flagging to me something's going to change here, you need to pay attention. And all I'm going to do is pass that stitch marker directly over to my right hand needle, say thank you very much for flagging that up for me. And now I'm going to be aware that I'm going to be using the stockingette stitch pattern for these middle stitches until I get to the next stitch marker. Here it is, and it's saying, hi, pay attention please, something's going to change. So I just pass it over to my needle, my right hand needle. Thank you very much. And in this case, nothing particularly is going to change for me because I'm on a knit row anyway. And there we go. Let's just do that one more time. Change row. Make sure I don't use my tail. Okay. Here's my stitch marker, just sitting on my needle saying, hello, please pay attention, something's going to change. So I pass it over to my right hand needle, out of the way, and then I know I'm in a separate section. So I need to use the stitch accordingly. And here we go again. Here's another stitch marker just sitting there saying, hello, please pay attention, something's about to change. So I pass that over. And in this case, I move my yarn to the back to knit. And there we are. So your stitch markers just simply sit on your needle and they're there as little flags to wave at you and let you know that something's going to change. Sometimes a pattern will ask you to put stitch markers in to separate out panels, just to let you know. It may be that it says you're going to knit the last two stitches before the marker and do this instruction, or it may be that it's going to suggest that you put them there to help you out and know that each of these panels has a set of different instructions, quite common in lace. But yeah, they're literally just sitting there hanging out. So if you would like to see any more tips, tricks, tutorials and guides, you'll find a selection of videos here on the website, and you'll also find a lot of blog posts that answer all sorts of beginner knitting questions. And if you have any questions for me that you'd like me to do a tutorial for or write a blog post about, please email me. No question is too stupid. I have been there, I have asked them all. So please, you are very welcome to ask away, and happy knitting.